UTM Board of Directors, senior UTM management, UTM staff and students, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good afternoon and welcome to the UTM Premier Lecture of our distinguished guest, CEO of AirAsia, Dr. Fernandes. Thank you for the warm welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Abdullah Muhammad Nawi, the Deputy Director. AirAsia are two entities cut from the same cloth with the same DNA of being innovative, entrepreneurial and global. AirAsia has been crowned the best low-cost carrier in the world for the 9th year in a row. And UTM is the top 10 young university in the whole of Asia. And the university is 50 years old and is the top 1% of universities in the world. Give yourselves a round of applause. And the UTM Aeronautics program also holds plenty of potential to collaborate with AirAsia, two entities cut from the same cloth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you all for coming to this long-awaited event. UTM students, where are you, UTM students? UTM students and staff, thank you for coming out. 170 student members from the Club Rakan Udara Malaysia from 16 schools in Johor, where are you? Hard-working teachers. My wife is also one of them there. Siti Salma, I can see you. And under the tutelage and the direction of the national chairman, Captain Kanan Karumal, adjunct professor in UTM. Give him a round of applause, please. And members of the general public, here we will get to hear from one of the world's most successful men who will share his wisdom and experience with us. It is not every day that we get to hear from such a person. Tan Sri Tony has received numerous awards and accolades over the course of his career. These include the honor of the Commander of the Order of the British Empire, conferred by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in 2011, and Commander of the Légion d'honneur, awarded by the French government for his outstanding contributions towards the economy of France through the aviation industry. Give him a round of applause for that. And in 2010, Tan Sri Tony was named Businessman of the Year by Forbes Asia, the first person from Malaysia and ASEAN to receive that honor for democratizing air travel and transforming AirAsia into a successful global brand. Time magazine included Tan Sri Tony in the 2015 Time 100 list, the magazine's annual list of the 100 most influential people in the world. And ladies and gentlemen, 2010, in that very same year, a fact that we hold very dear, Tan Sri Tony was awarded an honorary doctorate in business and innovation from UTM. Again, another round of applause for UTM. Your Majesty, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, with his lecture entitled, Dare to Dream, please welcome Yang Berbahagia, Tan Sri Dr. Tony Fernandes.
Okay. Sorry, we're a low-cost airline, not used to this high-tech. Your Majesty, Raja Zarat Sofia, Binti Al-Mahum, Sultan Idris Shah, Permaisuri of Johor UTM and Chancellor of UTM, Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Wahid Omar, Vice Chancellor of UTM, senior university officials, professors, deans, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, and most important, students of UTM and students of Your Majesty, I think your color suits you very well. Please give her a round of applause for choosing AirAsia's color. I'd like to welcome also my staff from JB Hub. I see Jackson and crew and some Singaporeans and also my 3 musketeers from KL here. Also hello to UTM KL. This is the first time I've been streamed legally. So it's fantastic to be here, and hello to everyone up there. It's fantastic seeing so many people here actually. It feels like an AirAsia flight because everyone is squeezed in. And so MC, you were right, Professor Abdullah, that we are cut from the same cloth. We're able to squeeze more people in. The professor is very smart in all his accolades for me, which was very nice. He mentioned his wife. Very smart man. Hello, wife. Wherever you are. So I'm thrilled to be here. I have to congratulate Vice Chancellor. I have met many Vice Chancellors around the world. You are very lucky to have a Vice Chancellor such as him. He is so proud of UTM. He has driven me mad and sent about 3,266 WhatsApp messages to me, of which about 3,000 came after UPM painted their plane. I thought only politicians and airlines fight so hard. But now I see there's very strong competition in the university field as well. So I am here in the living flesh. He gave me a long list of things he wanted. Tuan Ku gave me even a longer list. And after I arrived in JB, she said, "I'm sure you regret coming to Johor now." Absolutely not. I'm also terribly honored that Tuan Ku is here as the Chancellor, also an amazing woman who never ever stops putting people first. I'm not saying that because she's sitting next to me and I'm in Johor. I'm known to speak my mind. I always say whatever I believe, and sometimes I get into trouble for doing that. But I continue to believe that transparency, honesty, and openness is the best way for our country to move forward. And I love the fact that Tuan Ku fights for so many different causes, fights for what she believes in, and is never afraid of what the outcome is. She just fights for what she believes in. And every time there's something in Johor, I know 10 minutes later I'll get a WhatsApp from Tuan Ku asking for assistance, whether it's flood or the fires, etc. So again, you're very lucky to have 2 such great people here. So I'm going to give you my story and a little bit about AirAsia, and hopefully give you some ideas for your future lives as you move forward, and then open up to any questions and take 1,324 photographs afterwards. I'm free. I dressed up today for Tuan Ku, by the way. So those of you who think I'm not, I got my red shoes and a jacket, which you'll see later on is why it's important, the way I dress. So here we go. I shall give you my presentation. That was me, never seen before actually, in a presentation 50 odd years ago. I'm now 53 years old, and my mother was a Tupperware saleswoman, an amazing woman. She could sell ice to an Eskimo, and my father was a doctor. I used to go around Malaysia with my mum while she was selling Tupperware and fly on loads of airlines. Actually, no, just Malaysian MSA and then MAS. And that began my love for planes. Because generally I was going to meet my mom when she was coming back, or I was flying with her. And she was amazing. I'm a musician. I play keyboards, and if you give me enough alcohol, I can play anything. We used to go around Malaysia selling Tupperware, and I used to be playing the piano as a 5-year-old. You know, I got a Tupper feeling up in my head, sell more Tupperware, sell more Tupperware, sell more Tupperware. And from my early days, it was amazing the power of people and the power of motivation. It's amazing what you can do and with people, and it's amazing what people can do. And from a very early age, it was always in my brain about harnessing the power of people. And the majority of this presentation, why AirAsia has grown the way it's grown, is because we have amazing people in the company that believe anything is possible. And we don't follow convention about how you should manage people or hierarchy. We just make sure we get the best out of our people and turn raw diamonds to diamonds. And so that's the majority of this presentation today. So I was sent to boarding school in England. I'd never been to England in my life, and my parents one day came to me as a 12-year-old and said, "We're sending you to boarding school." Sounded an interesting concept. And a few weeks later, I was in Subang Airport, which is my favorite airport in the world. Small airport, you could wave to everyone. There was no terrorism then. And half of my village came to see me off. So I felt fairly cool. I was wearing my school uniform, unaccompanied minor, Samsonite bag with Maggie mee in there. And, you know, said goodbye to my parents. And then the coolness started to wear off. I was like, wow, where am I going? And I arrived in London, and even in the late 70s, Heathrow Airport was a huge airport. And I thought, wow, everyone's white here. I've never seen so many white people before. And I told my daughter, you have no such problem now, because when you arrive in Heathrow Airport, everyone's Indian. So you feel quite at home when you arrive. But I think, as Tuanku feels, you know, I always believe that the great thing about the world and the most fantastic thing about Malaysia is our diversity. And that we have Malay, Chinese, Indians, we have all types of religion, we have all types of languages. And because I came from Malaysia, living in England and living anywhere else was very easy, because we were from a diverse country. I never thought about differences. I always talked about commonalities. And it's something I believe very, very strongly in, is that our strength in Malaysia is based on our diversity. And if you look at AirAsia, that is one of the reasons we succeeded. That we don't care about all these things, we just make sure we have the very best people. So I spent 5 years in England in a different body. I was very good at sport. I played hockey for England and cricket for England. I know it's odd to see with my body right now, but I was a good sportsman 50 years ago. And you know, from the moment I was born, and I say this to the parents who are here and future parents, from the moment I came out of my mother's womb, I had a stethoscope around me. My parents had preordained me to be a doctor, of which I had no interest in being. My first toy was a doctor's set, you know? And at 15, I decided to tell them that I wasn't going to be a doctor. And it was like World War XVIII in my house. So my first lesson, if there is one, allow your children to live their own lives and allow them to live their own dreams. And for all of you kids, don't let your parents tell you what to do. And don't say I told them that. It's your life and it's your dreams. And it's amazing what you can achieve when you dream. Which is the second part of this theme. So I told my parents I was going to do history, economics, and biology. And, you know, they went ballistic, and they forced me to do physics, chemistry, and biology. And so I said, okay, if you make me do it, I will fail. And of course, they didn't believe I would, but I did. In spectacular style. I got an A for biology and 2 Fs. F for chemistry and F for physics. So I got my initials, Anthony Francis Fernandes. My parents disowned me. I just wrote the name on the paper and fell asleep. And then I decided further education wasn't for me. So I went traveling. I went to America for a year, which was great. I worked from Boston all the way down to Florida. I worked in all kinds of jobs, from hairdressing assistant. I was the organ player at the Boston Red Sox. You know, when you hear those American songs, I was doing that. I had a fantastic life. And then I decided to go to San Francisco. And I was in Miami. And so I thought the cheapest way to travel, I couldn't afford a flight. The cheapest way was a bus. And I was such an idiot. I looked at the journey, I thought, oh, that's not too far away. And I took a bus, a Greyhound bus. 3.5 days later, I arrived in San Francisco, which became my second reason why I wanted to start an airline. It was the worst trip of my life. I had a great time. And then I went to Australia for a year and I taught rugby and cricket to very young kids and maths. And I don't think they ever really survived from that, but I did that. Then I came back to England. I thought I have really achieved nothing in my life. And I thought, my parents have spent a lot of money on me. So I got a job as a waiter in a hotel and retook my A-levels, and I got good grades, and I went to the London School of Economics and studied accountancy. I had 3 great years at university. I didn't really work very hard, but don't listen to this part of the conversation. I had a great time. I remember, and this is really important, university isn't just about getting first-class honors, etc. It's about experiencing life, it's about doing sport, it's about debating, it's about mixing around with cultures and learning about everybody else. I never joined the Malaysia-Singapore Society. They said, why aren't you joining? I said, because I'm going to live with you for the rest of your life anyway. So I've got plenty of time to live with you. I want to learn about other cultures. So I joined the Brazilian Society, the Mongolian Society. I did all kinds of crazy things. But it really broadened my life, right? So don't waste these years at university. I mean, study hard, don't do what I did. But university is much more than academic. It's about sport, immerse yourself in extracurricular activities, whether it's the airline club, which is a very good thing to do. Only it's run by a Singapore Airlines pilot. That's the only bad thing about the airline club. Not very smart. He joined the world's worst airline, called Singapore Airlines, where they give you fake smiles the whole time. Have you noticed every single Singapore Airlines cabin crew looks the same? Same bun in their hair, same lipstick, same nail polish, same fake smile. They're all manufactured in a factory in Toa Payoh. And it's true actually, when Singapore Airlines stewardesses come to AirAsia, it takes them quite a few months to adjust from the robot way of life to Malaysian way of life. So Cap, one day you will regret and realize that you made a big mistake in life. Even your son has an AirAsia cap. I don't see him wearing an SIA cap. Anyway, how did I get onto that? So I did accountancy, and then I became an auditor, and I really hated auditing. It drove me nuts. And so I wrote to every single record company, and they all told me to go to hell, except one, Virgin. And I went for the interview, and I failed that interview as well. And I was walking out, and Richard Branson was walking in. He's the owner of Virgin. And I thought, and this is important to all of you, shall I be a shy Malaysian and say nothing and just smile and regret it for the rest of my life? Or should I grab my chance? And this is the second message I give to all of you. Chances don't come very often. You've got to grab them, and if they don't work, they don't work. But you don't want to sit there and say, I wish I did that, because it's too late. So if a chance comes, grab it. So I said something which I knew would get Branson to ask me more. Yeah, I talked about Malaysia. And we started talking, and he said, oh, let's have a coffee. And then he said, why are you here? I said, oh, I came for a job interview, and I failed. And he said, no, there's something really special about you. I'm going to get you a job. And that was the break I had. So he got me to join Virgin Television initially. It was the precursor to satellite TV. He was ahead of his time. And I was financial controller of Virgin Television as a 24-year-old. And when I joined Virgin Television, are there accounting students here? Okay, a few at the back. The balance sheet in Virgin Television didn't balance. It was like a huge experience for me. So I had a great time, and I fixed everything, and I stayed in Virgin for 2 years. And then, well, I've never seen these slides. That's a very young me. And I decided to leave Virgin when Richard Branson decided to sell his record company and start an airline. And I said, you're crazy to start an airline. That's the dumbest business in the world. When I started AirAsia, the first person to call me up was Richard Branson, who said, I thought it was dumb to start an airline. So I joined Warner Music, and I had 15 amazing years, or 12 amazing years in Warner Music. And I started in London, and again, I made my break on one report. I was in the finance department in the basement, and they were doing these reports, which were really, no one was going to read them. And so I went to my boss, and I said, can I change the report? And he went, no, this is how we always do it. So I thought, I cannot take someone's salary and do a rubbish job. So I bought my own software, and I redid the report. And I told my girlfriend, I'm going to be fired tomorrow, but I have to do what I think is right. And then the next morning I came in, and everyone was looking at the computer. And I went over there, and I thought, oh, what are they looking at? They were looking at my report, so I knew I'm going to be fired. And then I said, oh, why are you looking at this? They said, oh, the chairman wants to see you. He says it's the best report he's ever seen. And so I said, great. So I went up to the 6th floor. He was like a legend in the music industry. And I was talking to him about music, and he said, hey, you should come over to the music side of the business. You're really talented in music. So he said, I'll go and make you general manager of Warner Music Malaysia, and maybe in 5-6 years' time, we will make you CEO. Again, that's a great chance. I didn't ask my salary, I didn't talk to my mother, grandmother, auntie, which all us Malaysians do, for advice. And Vice Chancellor definitely didn't talk to him. And I just went for the job. And I arrived in Malaysia. I had never worked in Malaysia. All the staff hated me because they thought, who's this young punk coming back to be my boss? And it was amazing. You know, in 6 months, I changed a lot of things. I signed Sheila Majid. I did all kinds of things. And then they made me CEO. So I was like 26 years old or 27, and I became CEO of Warner Music Malaysia. It all came from that one report, you know. And that's why I said, grab chances. Never waste a chance. And I had a fantastic 12 years. You know, it was all American music when I took over. We were selling Phil Collins and Madonna, Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're all too young, except for your lecturers, to know all this music. And I persuaded the Americans to allow me to do local music. I said, there's no point. People want to touch their stars. They want to see their local artists. So they gave me a budget, and we built a fantastic roster with Sheila and Zainal and Jamal and Salim. And then I did dangdut music. I had never heard about dangdut. And there was this one girl who sat outside my office for 9 hours wanting me to play her cassette. And I said, okay, come in. I thought, you're amazing for waiting so long. And I played the cassette. And I said, what music is this? It sounds Hindustani. And she said, no, it's dangdut. And she said, I'm going to take you to a club tonight to show you what dangdut is. And I went to a dangdut club, which was the biggest mistake of my life. And I saw Vice Chancellor there. That's how we met. The truth comes out today. I won't tell you what he was doing in the dangdut club, but that's why he doesn't have any hair anymore. And the artist was Emelina, and she became a superstar, and then I signed so many dangdut artists, and I was the king of dangdut. Okay? I used to go to Bandung and steal all the Indonesian music, repackage it, and bring it to Malaysia. That's why AirAsia flies to Bandung. Because of dangdut music. Because I used to have to drive to Bandung, right? We land in Jakarta, I go to Puncak and arrive in Bandung. So when I started AirAsia, I was like, why don't we fly to Bandung? There was no airline flying to Bandung. And no one could answer me. Population of 5 million, a brilliant university like here, ITB. So there was no market research. I just said, let's go. And the rest is history, which I'll tell you about. So I did dangdut, and then I did nasyid. And here's a great story, okay? So these 5 guys come to my office in green, with makeup, eyeliner. And they play me this music. And I was like, wow, this is really great. What is it? They said, it's nasyid. And then they asked me to go and visit them in their house or home. And it was in Sungai Penchala. And it was kind of freaky, right? It was El Akam. And they had everything. It was like a little town by itself. And so I told Nase, my A&R director, I said, I feel something not right about this place. I said, you know, we're all going to end up in jail if we do this music. True enough, El Akam was bust open 3 or 4 weeks later, and we never heard from them again. They re-entered my office 2 years later, this time in white. Still with the makeup, still with the eyeliner, and we signed them up and recorded Puji Pujian. And everyone said this will be disaster, album won't sell, you know. And I said, everyone's gonna buy this. Whether you're a Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, everyone's gonna buy this because it's a fantastic album. And everything I did at Warner Music, whether it was Sheila Majid or Zainal, was for music for all Malaysians. I mean, if you went to a Sheila Majid concert, there were all the races there. If you went to Zainal, there were all the races there. And I thought this nasyid music, and in fact, in dangdut, all the races were there. I saw a lot of Indians and Chinese with Vice Chancellor that night in the dangdut club. And they believed me, by the way. So, you're gonna regret ever inviting me. I've got the mic for the next 1 hour. So, where was I? So I said, I don't care what you say. Me and Nase believe in this music. We're gonna ship it out. And we shipped out 300 units. That's all. 1 year later, we sold 2 million records. It's the largest record ever in ASEAN, actually. And it's sold in Indonesia, it's sold in Singapore, and everyone bought it.